Imagine this. Right now, somewhere in the world, one person is earning more in a single hour than another person will earn this entire week. The strange part is neither of them is being overpaid. They're both being paid exactly what the market believes they're worth. Think about that for a second. They both have 24 hours in a day. They both wake up in the morning. They both get tired. They both work. So how can 1 hour of one person's life be worth 10 times or even 100 times more than another's? Most people think they already know the answer. They say it's because one person is smarter, more talented, or simply works harder. But what if every one of those answers is wrong? Because if hard work alone created wealth, the hardest working people on earth would also be the richest. Construction workers would retire as millionaires. Nurses would earn more than Hollywood actors. Small business owners working 16 hours a day would always become wealthier than investors sitting behind a laptop. But that's not the world we live in. Reality follows a completely different rule, a rule so powerful that it quietly decides almost every salary, every business, and every fortune. The surprising part is that most people spend their entire lives chasing promotions, working overtime, and learning random skills without ever understanding this one rule. And that's exactly why two people can work equally hard, yet live completely different lives. So before you spend another year trying to earn more money, you need to answer one question. What is the market actually paying you for? Because once you understand that answer, you'll never look at your job, your skills, or your future the same way again. Have you ever noticed something strange? Imagine your car suddenly breaks down on the side of the road. Two mechanics look at the exact same engine. The first spends 6 hours trying to figure out the problem and still can't fix it. The second arrives, opens the hood, looks for less than 2 minutes, tightens one small bolt, and the engine starts running perfectly. Then he hands you a bill for $1,000. At first, it feels ridiculous. $1,000 for 2 minutes of work? But here's the truth. You didn't pay him for those 2 minutes. You paid him for the 15 years it took him to know exactly which bolt to tighten. That's the first hidden rule of money. The market doesn't pay for your time. It doesn't even pay for your effort. It pays for the value you create and the problems you can solve that most people can't. The bigger the problem, the bigger the reward. That's why someone who writes a piece of software used by 10 million people can earn more than someone who works physically every single day. Their effort may be different, but the value they create is on completely different levels. And once you see this pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Now here's where everything changes. For decades, the highest paid people were those with the most experience. But today, experience alone is no longer enough. Think about what happened in just the last few years. Artificial intelligence can now write emails, design logos, create videos, analyze data, translate languages, and even write computer code in seconds. Tasks that once took hours can now be finished in minutes. And that's exactly why millions of people are asking the wrong question. They ask, will AI take my job? But the real question is, can AI already do the most valuable part of my job? Because if the answer is yes, then working harder won't save you. But if the answer is no, your value could become even higher than before. The people earning the most in the future won't be the ones competing against AI. They'll be the ones using AI to solve bigger problems, make better decisions, and create results that others can't. Technology has never replaced people who create value. It replaces people who only repeat tasks. And that's the difference between having a job and becoming truly valuable. The truth is, the highest paid skill isn't coding, it isn't marketing, it isn't public speaking. Those are simply tools. The real skill is becoming someone who can solve problems that other people can't. Every high income career, every successful business, and every great entrepreneur follows the same invisible rule. The bigger the problem you solve and the fewer people who can solve it, the more valuable you become. That's why a surgeon earns more than someone who sells medicine. That's why the founder of a company earns more than most of its employees. That's why one idea can sometimes be worth more than 10 years of hard work. The market doesn't reward effort, it rewards impact. And that's the lesson most of us were never taught. We were taught to study hard, work hard, and hope someone would eventually pay us more. The people who change their financial future ask a completely different question. Instead of asking, how can I earn more? They ask, What problem can I become one of the few people in the world capable of solving? The moment you start chasing that answer, your career changes, your income changes, and eventually your life changes. Because money doesn't follow hard work. Money follows value, and value follows people who never stop learning, adapting, and solving bigger problems. So the next time you think about your future, don't ask what job pays the most. Ask yourself, what problem can I solve that will always be valuable? Because that single question might be worth far more than $100 an hour.